Good evening, late night forecast update here. Been busy. Sam Danford here giving you the weather forecast. It is December 15th, just about midnight here in Jackson Hole. This image, though, that is above me right now is from earlier this evening, actually right around 4:30. Obviously, we're having shorter and shorter days. We're almost at winter solstice, which for me has been really a double-edged sword because partly it's been really nice to have these sunny days. I feel like I've just been able to enjoy any sunshine we have had. And then things are going to go up from here. But at the same time, I mean, look at, we do not have much valley snow. If any, my predictions, I'm really, I feel good about everything I've said in my past videos about that. I was pretty confident we were going to lose a lot of our valley snow. Clearly, we have lost a lot of our valley snow, and it's not great. But hope is on the way. We have storm trains to talk about in today's forecast. Let's jump right in. I'm going to go show you immediately the HRRR just to give you a little taste of what we could expect. Now, the HRRR model is a high resolution model. We will get into some other ones, but this is showing here Tuesday and then a big pulse of snow on Wednesday. So we're already seeing this in multiple models, and we feel pretty confident that throughout the day Wednesday, we're going to have a pretty, I mean, that's a prolific surface low. 968 over near Calgary, passing over Calgary. I mean, that is a deep low pressure over the surface. Um, I definitely think that's a deep low pressure. Let's get it zoomed in here. Here's Jackson. Here's the valley. Here's Teton County, Tetons. Let me refresh this real quick and just skip ahead, and I'll show you that, on the day Tuesday, we're definitely going to see clouds coming in. It's going to definitely be a little bit more gloomy feeling stuff happening, but I don't think we're going to get anything more than maybe a little flurry. You can see here down south, maybe something like that. It could be in town. I mean, this is just a future radar look on a model, but definitely going into Wednesday, I think we're going to see things really ramp up, especially in the morning hours into the afternoon. Yeah, this is Wednesday midday into the afternoon. You just see that giant slug of moisture arrive with power. I am seeing tight isobars. I'm seeing a lot of these tight lines between air pressure, and that means wind, y'all. So we'll get right into that. Let's quickly look at the jet stream in the upper levels. This is 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere, mid levels, and this is really showing us a good indicator of what we can expect ahead. And what we're seeing is a pretty consistent pattern, actually, at least for the Tetons, of the jet stream just parking itself over us. We're going to get a storm train. I think we'll get breaks here and there. And then in terms of temperature and kind of switching up our temperature pattern, for now we're going to remain mild. But I just want to show you this quick dip that we're seeing in Sunday. Yeah, this is Sunday. You can kind of see that dip coming over Alaska, Haida Gwaii, like just offshore here near Alaska. And that dip, oh, there it is. Sorry, this is actually next week. So we're kind of far off, but that dip for sure would bring cooler temperatures. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. For now, these systems are going to kind of remain more of like the atmospheric river environment and a little bit more mild, I should say. So here we are. This is precipitable water values. This is showing us a great indication here. Here's Hawaiian Islands I'm pointing at right here. Here we are. You can really see that moisture just getting pulled off the Pacific Ocean. Pacific Northwest, man, just still getting clobbered with wave after wave of storms and atmospheric river like activity. However, the fire hose makes its way down south towards the Bay Area. You can see that smacking San Francisco. Jeez, can't talk right now. This is on Sunday, the 21st. And we are going to expect pulses of moisture as well. You can kind of see if I back up To Wednesday, there you go. You can see that big pulse right there on Wednesday of moisture, and then Thursday again, and just kind of continuing through the whole weekend. So this is a great signal in terms of just snowfall. The European model here, this is kind of zoomed out. I just want to show you that pulse of moisture again here on Wednesday. You're just seeing tight isobars also on this model. This is the European model, and it's showing a 976 over Calgary area. That is a deep low pressure. And that is going to result in windy conditions. Before we get into the winds, just real quick, I want to show you how mild it's going to be. If we look at Tuesday here, midday, I mean, we're talking 42 in the valley, 43, 42 for our high. Up in the mountains, a lot of terrain around 8,000 feet. We're going to remain around 30 degrees, 31 degrees. Up in the highest terrain, probably around 29, 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So things should be holding okay up in the mountains. In the valley, man, it's just going to feel mild still, for sure. Wow, you see that sea of red? So let's look at this, y'all. This is AGL winds. This is the HRRR winds. And this is actually just sustained wind over a period of time, basically. And man, we are seeing like a huge uptick on Wednesday. I just want to skip right ahead here. So we're definitely seeing some gustier winds tomorrow, Tuesday. Tuesday evening, we're going to hear the storm knocking at our door saying, I'm going to come in there and get windy. And lo and behold, Wednesday, midday, things start to ramp up. And as we go through the afternoon, I mean, we just see, look at this explosion of wind on Wednesday. This is actually Wednesday afternoon later and into the evening. Up in Montana, I mean, we're seeing, this is more towards sustained winds of 44 knots. I mean, come on, that is crazy. And then in the Tetons, similar story. Down in the valley, I think it's going to be more variable, but I think we're going to have random big gusts. So just expect the wind. It's going to be howling out there. It's going to feel like winter. You're going to hear it whistling through all the trees that have lost their leaves. It's going to feel, a little creepy if you're scared of wind, but no need to fear it. Just be prepared. That's why you listen to my forecasts to know what's coming for you. It's going to be windy. Just expect it. So yeah, that's what's coming. Now, let's look at a different wind model real quick before I get into snow totals. I mean, this is wind gusts. So I want to show you this real quick. Sometimes this overestimates. This is the European model, but this is going into Wednesday around 8 a.m. and things just really ramp up. I have my picker over the Tetons here in my little sampler, and we're seeing gusts up to 58 miles an hour already at 11 a.m. And then in the afternoon, increasing into 57 miles per hour potentially for the wind gusts. That is going to blow down lifts. I do think my advice is Wednesday, I would stay out of backcountry terrain. Really, honestly, it's just going to be really storming. There is going to be moisture associated with this, so it's going to be kind of like blizzard conditions up there and just nasty, kind of mild. Really, this storm is packing a punch in terms of just its power. We'll get into snow accumulations. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but I think it'll be decent snow accumulation. Now, in the valley, real quick with these wind gusts, just want to show you, we could see a 50-mile-an-hour gust or so in the valley on Wednesday afternoon. I mean, that is going to be windy. And then just really quick, look at the wind rivers. Speaking of wind, that's why they get their infamous name, and their lineage is from their just absolutely magnificent winds. 75-mile-an-hour gusts potentially up there. So just showing you the power of this storm coming in. I mean, this is pretty widespread wind. Even up here in Montana, we're going to see gusts all over the place up to 60 miles an hour. So Definitely, you will be seeing some high wind warnings issued. I don't know if we'll see one in Teton County. I do suspect we'll see it in some of the weather statements as we see the winter storm watch come through. And actually, there is a winter storm watch, by the way, that has been issued so far for the Tetons and some of the higher terrain. Um, heavy snow possible, total snow accumulation 6 to 10 inches above 8,000 feet over the next couple days here. So that's what's to expect. All right, speaking of snow totals, let's look at a couple models for it. So the GFS model right now is saying, all right, Wednesday, you have it. We're going to start accumulating snow up in the mountains. Now, showing you through Wednesday night, this is a little bit unknown how wide of a spread it will be in the valley. I'm seeing an indication here, right? It's saying 5 inches, but I think with the temperatures that we have going on, I think we're not going to see much more than maybe an inch or two again, unfortunately. Just with the temperatures, I think we're going to see some mixed bag. We're going to see some rain potentially. We're going to see some wet snow that melts pretty quickly. So the valley, unfortunately, still kind of low at this point on Wednesday. However, going ahead, we are seeing the signal as we go ahead that Thursday storm. Again, more accumulations, 10 or so, 10 to maybe a foot up in the mountains. And in the valley, we could see actually a little bit more of a sizable accumulation by Thursday and Friday. And then again, the weekend, we just keep stacking up. And now we're getting to fantasy lands, but we will go ahead. I mean, we see this pattern, these pulses of snow again and again and again. And definitely the high terrain, we're seeing a decent signal to get a foot or two once again over the next 10 or so days. Now, look at the European model, just very, very quick. Similar story. Definitely the European model saying, yeah, this is more conservative here. We're only going to see maybe 6 inches by Thursday midday. And then, down the valley, maybe 3, which is more accurate in my mind. So, but still really good signal. And really quick, let me just like zoom out here and show you the national snow accumulation on the European model. This is fantasy land, but if we go ahead and just look towards maybe Christmas, let's not go get it too far out of ourselves. The Tetons are really showing a stronger signal out of a lot of the mountain ranges. Obviously, the Cascades and definitely up in British Columbia. I mean, they're just getting absolutely clobbered, but the Tetons are faring pretty well with all things considered. Now, let's just look at this real quick. The Climate Prediction Center. Yep, warm, mild still for now. We're going to see warmer temperatures. The valley is not going to be as much. It's going to be lower snow than usual. The I don't know. I'm not a biologist, but I feel like the elk are not going to be nearly as glued to the elk refuge as they normally would because we're not going to have deep as a snowpack yet. And by the way, real quick, y'all, look at all these high wind warnings that are being issued. You're going to see more and more of these. And actually, I don't think there's one issued for Teton County yet, but definitely down here in parts of Wyoming, high wind watches starting to come out. So I'll keep you tuned in about that. But definitely a lot of high wind warnings. Now, moisture wise, the 6 to 10 day showing an above signal here. You can see actually massive above signal coming in for San Francisco area and California. So things are going to shift more south in terms of how the moisture is coming on the coast. But man, Tetons, they're the Tetons for a reason. They're capturing all of it. They're getting the hose line all the way down. I think we're going to benefit from the next week of moisture in and out, waves of snow. Wednesday, watch out for these high winds though. And I think that's the big story coming up. But this is a great signal. And I will definitely catch you guys in the next forecast. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.